We live in a world obsessed with perfection. Perfect bodies, perfect careers, perfect lives. But what if I told you that your greatest strength doesn't always come from what's perfect about you, but sometimes from what's broken? What if the very cracks you're trying to hide are actually the doorways through which your true beauty shines? Have you ever seen or heard about the world-famous Bell Tower of Pisa, which is quite famous as the Leaning Tower of Pisa? Do you know why it is so famous? Not for its perfection. It's famous for its lean due to the architectural flaw. This flaw made the structure unique and world-renowned spectacle. If it hadn't had the flaw, it wouldn't be famous. As you listen to this story, I want you to think about your own cracks, your own dark spots, your own imperfections that you've been trying to hide. Because by the end of this story, you might just see them in a completely different light. This is the story of a young monk who thought success could only come from perfection until his master showed him a truth that changed his life forever. Watch this story till the end, because it might challenge everything you believe about perfection and imperfection. In a small village at the foot of a mountain, there was a monastery. There lived a monk who was also a master sculptor. He was known to bring life to stone. Through his sculpture art, people from distant lands would come to see his beautiful statues and learn his craft. A young monk living in that monastery got impressed by his master's sculptor art. He decided to learn the art of sculpture, believing it would help him understand the nature of creation. He was eager and passionate, but often impatient with himself and the world around him. One day, when the master was busy working on a stone, the young monk went to the master and said, "Master, I want to learn the art of sculpture. Please teach me your secrets." The master smiled and said, "There are no secrets, my son. Only patience and understanding. Come, I will teach you." After several weeks of learning basic techniques, the young monk was sent to the quarry to select a stone. For his first real sculpture, the young monk searched for hours until he found what seemed to be a magnificent block of white marble. He brought the marble to the master. The master walked around the stone slowly, running his weathered hands over its surface. He examined it closely. A deep but barely visible crack ran through its center and dark spots marked its surface. "My son, didn't you notice the crack in the stone?" the master asked. The young monk replied sadly, "Surely I failed, master. It ruins everything. These marks make it ugly. Should I throw it away and find another?" The master said, "Tell me, when you look at an old tree, do you see ugliness in its rough bark? When you see a mountain, do you despise it for its broken rocks?" The young monk remained quiet. The master continued, "This crack you see as a flaw actually reveals the truth. It tells you where the stone is strong and where it is fragile. These dark spots show its journey." "But master," the young monk asked, "how can we make something beautiful from something so broken?" The master picked up his tools and said, "Watch and learn." Day after day, the young monk watched the master work. Instead of hiding the crack, the master made it part of his design. Where the crack ran deep, he carved the flowing robes of a wise sage. The dark spots became shadows in the folds of the cloth, giving depth and character to the statue. Sometimes the master spent hours just studying the crack before carving. "If I fight this crack," he explained, "the sculpture will shatter. But if I understand it, it becomes part of the beauty." Weeks passed. Finally, the sculpture was complete. Before the young monk stood a statue of a meditating sage. The crack in the marble looked like natural folds of robes flowing in the wind. The dark spots created shadows that made the figure feel alive. The young monk whispered, "Master, it is more beautiful than any perfect stone could create." The master nodded. The real strength of a sculptor lies not in the quality of stone, but in his understanding and skill. He placed his hand on the young monk's shoulder. "The cracks in the stone are like the struggles in our lives. The dark spots are like our mistakes and failures. If we hide them, we become weak. But if we understand them, they become part of our strength. The young monk looked at the statue again. Do you mean our imperfections can become our strength? The master gently corrected him. They already are. We just need the wisdom to see it. From that day forward, the young monk never feared imperfect stones again. Years later, when he himself became a master, a young student came to him with a broken stone. Master, this stone is ruined. Should I throw it away? The master smiled and replied, let me tell you about the beauty of broken things. In life, we often chase perfection and feel discouraged by our flaws. But true wisdom lies in understanding that our imperfections are not obstacles. They are part of our strength. Your heartbreak teaches empathy. Your failures teach resilience. Your mistakes teach humility. Just like the crack in the marble became flowing robes. Our struggles give us depth and character. Stop trying to hide your cracks. Work with them. Transform your wounds into wisdom. Because a perfect stone in the hands of an amateur creates nothing special. But an imperfect stone in the hands of someone with understanding creates a masterpiece. Remember, perfection is a myth. Progress is reality.